Hey there, I'm out at the Cosumnes River Preserve doing a nice little hike, the first one using the new hydration system by Pioneer Bear Camp. Giving it a try for the first time, and we'll see how that goes. So far so good. So right off the bat, the first thing you notice using a hydration bladder system compared to water bottles like I usually use is the convenience. And that's probably one of the reasons why the majority of people go to a hydration bladder system rather than using water bottles. Is it really is convenient. I mean, it's right here. I want to take a drink of water, I take the cap off, drink, put the cap back on, you're done. I can do it while I'm walking on the trail still. I don't have to stop. Where normally, in order to get water, if I don't want to stop, it's in the side pockets of my my backpack, and I got to do the chicken wing thing to get it out and get it in my hand and bring it around, and then try and get it back in, which is even harder than getting it out of there. And you don't got to do that with a hydration bladder. The water is just back there in your backpack. It's just sitting there. That's really nice, easy to get to. So convenience is the first thing you notice when using a hydration bladder, and that's definitely no different with the Pioneer Bear Camp hydration bladder. Very easy, sturdy. I like it so far. But yeah, very easy, very convenient. So that's 1 point for hydration bladders. There we go. So one thing I have noticed about using a hydration bladder that I am used to with the difference of water bottles is if I need water for anything besides drinking, the convenience goes away. I have to dig all the way in my pack to get to the hydration bladder, which is usually against the back wall of the pack, get it out, unseal it, however the seal, whatever kind of seal it is, and then I can get to some water in the bag, pour it out. If I needed to, say, wash out a wound, or just if I were on like an overnight and needed it for cooking and things like that, a hydration bladder, and I'm not talking about just Pioneer Bear Camp's bladder, pretty much any hydration bladder has this one setback. The convenience of it goes away when you need water for anything besides drinking. The hydration bladder is fantastic for drinking water, but if I need it for something else, it's no longer convenient. I have to stop then and there, dig into the pack to get the bladder out, unseal the bladder, and then I can get to the water. Where with a water bottle or on the side pocket, I could still be on the trail if I needed to, get it in out in my hand, open it up, pour out whatever I need for whatever. So there is that. When that's just like I say, that's not a point against Pioneer Bear Camp hydration bladder. That is just hydration bladders in general, I think. And that's just from the perspective of a guy who's used to water bottles and using water for more than just drinking on the trail. So that's one thing right there to think about if you're thinking about any kind of a hydration bladder system compared to carrying water bottles. Well, so far for the first day hike, I have to say I'm pretty happy with the Pioneer Bear Camp hydration bladder filtration system. Not filtration system, hydration system. Like I said, convenience is definitely there for drinking water, much more than the water bottles I'm used to using. A few issues I'm having are mostly not with the hydration system, but with my own self. Being used to, I know I brought this many bottles and I drank this many, so that's how much water I have left. I actually don't know how much water I have left. I brought about 1.5 liters because it's a short hike today. I don't know how much of that I have left because the bag's in my pack. I can kind of feel it getting lighter when I'm drinking and stuff, but I don't have any details of exactly how much water I have left. But that's really on me. I know I have enough water for this hike, and even if I drink the bag dry. It's only a 3 to 4 mile hike today. It's not that big of a deal. I've drank enough water. So that's on me. That's nothing to do with the hydration system. You just have to get used to that, and there is a learning curve there, I think. But so far, I gotta say, positive. I want to give it a few more hikes, different types of hikes and things like that before I completely wow. But for now, off the first hike, I'm pretty happy with the Pioneer Bear Camp hydration bladder. Not too bad. Easy to get to the water. I don't have to worry about chicken winging out the water bottles and things. Pretty good stuff so far. So that's the first hike down. We'll be bringing it on more. All right, I'm on the Pine Mountain Loop Trail in Atascadero, California in Stadium Park. Having a good time with some up and down trails, let me tell you. I'm working the old legs and the knees, but I wanted to give a shout out to Pioneer Bear Camp and their hydration bladder. As you can see, it's hooked up on my my gear here. But I wanted to give them a shout out because it has kept me hydrated through this trail, especially on a trail like this where I'm using my trekking poles, and so I don't really have a free hand all the time, or if I do, it's one free hand. Not having to struggle for or reach or stop to get out a water bottle is nice. So for the last part of this gear review, I always like to usually be out when I'm doing gear reviews on the trail and stuff like that. That's been my usual, although I've only done a few actual gear reviews. Usually I try and be out there on the trail to do it. But in the case of a hydration bladder, it's hard to show that on the trail aside from the little hose part that comes out, because the actual hydration bladder is usually inside the backpack. So this is what the hydration bladder looks like. I wanted to just, do a real quick blurb here at the end to let you know that, that's what it looks like right now. I've got it just a little over 1.5 liters of water in it because I'm going to be using it today. Its maximum capacity is 3. This is a pretty tough bladder. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to show it. You saw the quick blurb I did at the beginning where I'm putting it in the backpack and things like that. So this is a little slide. Okay. Then you've got a really nice, pretty wide mouth opening at the top that folds over, slides through, and that keeps it from leaking. So far, I've had no problems with leaks whatsoever. This snaps in pretty well, and so far inside the backpack, squeezed with stuff against it, I've had no issues at all with leaking. Compared to some other hydration bladders, this hose is really nice. It's insulated. It's so far been very tough. Been handling it. I like the on-off nozzle that comes with it. So kind of just an extra help to keep it from leaking at the top when it's hanging over your shoulder like this. You don't want it to be leaking and things like that, dripping down on you. And this one definitely doesn't, because it's got a couple of redundant systems in it that keep it from doing that. So all in all, Pioneer Bear Camp has come up with a really good hydration bladder. I'll be the first one to let you know that I'm no hydration bladder expert. I'm no pro at them. I'm kind of new at it. And also I wanted to give full disclosure. Pioneer Bear Camp did not pay me for a review. They did not give me any kind of payment. They did send me their product for free. They contacted me, said they had seen some of my videos, wanted to know if I would be interested in giving a fair review and feedback on their hydration bladder. I told them I would be interested because it was something I was thinking about might be good on certain things. And so they sent me the hydration bladder. And so I just wanted to disclose that. I'm not being paid as an advertiser for them. They didn't pay me for a good review only. They said a fair review, and I am giving them a fair review. So my final take on the hydration bladder is, I have to tell you, as far as day hikes go, I am sold. I am, especially this last hike on Pine Mountain, where some of the other training hikes that I have taken the bladder on at places like Cosumnes River Preserve and out at
Oh my goodness. Out on the white slough loop on the levees and stuff like that. Flatland, I didn't have my trekking poles with me because I wasn't doing any kind of elevation changes, and it was kind of nice having the water available and things like that, but no big deal. When I was up on Pine Mountain and I had the trekking poles in my hand and climbing up the hill and stuff like that, when your hands are occupied with trekking poles and maybe I can shift and hold two in one hand and stuff like that, it is so nice having access to that water to be able to get hydrated when you're walking up a hill without having to reach for water bottles, without having to dig in your pack for water and things like that. When your hands are occupied with trekking poles, right there, a hydration bladder is extremely helpful. I found it extremely helpful on the any of the hikes I did that had elevation changes where I was having to use trekking poles. So I'm sold on that as far as day hike goes. As far as backpacking goes, I don't know if I'd be able to incorporate this into my backpacking. I'll have to look into it, and maybe that'll be a little supplement I'll do in the summer or something like that. But for day hikes, I'm sold on the hydration bladder system, and specifically Pioneer Bear Camp system, because it's a very durable, very easy to put together, easy to use type of system. One suggestion I would have is it would be really cool if any hydration bladder, but Pioneer Bear Camp, since I'm kind of going towards their product, could work with water filter systems like, say, the Sawyer Squeeze or the Sawyer Mini or something like that. I know when I bought the Sawyer Squeeze and Mini, they say here's how you can modify your hydration bladder to work with it, and it involves things like cutting this hose and inserting the Mini in a certain way, and no, I don't want to go through all that kind of thing. I would love a hydration bladder that came with a fitting, either on this end or on the end that connects to the bottle or something like that. But one other way you can get around that 100% is when you fill the bladder, that's what you're going to do. You're going to have to carry another water bottle with you, fill it with the contaminated water with the filter on top of it, and then squeeze the water into that. Now that's time consuming. If I could just get water from a stream in this wide mouth bag, that's really nice, and then have my filter attached to this somehow without having to cut into it and do splicing and things like that, that would be pretty helpful as far as backpacking goes. And long day hikes where you do have to replenish your water. But for the most part, for day hikes like I'm going to be using it for, there's no need to really filter water. I can carry 3 liters is usually enough for a day hike. I can carry enough water without having to stop somewhere and filter it. But it would be good to have the option, especially if I'm going to use something like this on longer hikes or overnights and things like that. So just a suggestion there. Other than that, I am quite happy with the Pioneer Bear Camp 3-liter hydration bladder system. And like I say, it will be part of my regular gear when it comes to day hikes. Anytime I'm doing my training hikes out and around, even on the flatland, but especially when I'm going to be doing any kind of hills and things like that, my Pioneer Bear Camp hydration bladder will be with me in my pack. It works pretty well with the REI pack that I have. I'm happy about that. And so there it is. That is my fair review. I was a water bottle guy, and as far as day hikes go, I've turned into a hydration bladder guy. It's pretty good. And that's it. That's my full disclosure there. I hope you enjoyed the gear review, and we'll be seeing you down the trail.